Hey, and welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, man. I got an interesting stat, if you will.
I love stats.
Streaming.
Okay.
Everybody does it.
Yeah.
We're all into it.
Actually, I do it several times a day, depending on how much I drink, during that day.
Oh. I get you. You're making the stream.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about just like streaming content, streaming videos, things like that.
Okay,
like, Netflix, HBO Max,
sure.
Paramount Plus, Disney Plus.
These are all Drep and Stone sponsors, by the way.
Yes, we wish. These are all streaming devices, specifically Disney Plus. Just saw this the other day, and it absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus, think of all the content they have, all the different things. They have the Marvel stuff. Yep. They have Star Wars.
Now they've added all basically the Hulu stuff too to Disney Plus.
Hulu, all the old Fox stuff.
Yeah.
They have all the classic Disney stuff.
Yeah.
So much stuff.
A lot of things.
They also have Bluey.
Okay.
You know Bluey.
I do. Yeah.
Everybody knows Bluey at this point in time. Bluey is universally known at this point in time. Do you know what percentage of Disney Plus streaming Bluey is responsible for?
Oh, man. Like, I would love to hazard a guess of, I'm going to say, man, knowing kids, 85%.
Wow. 85% of all the content.
Is that high? I don't know.
Is 85% high?
Well, I know 85% is high, but like I'm thinking about like all the people who watch Bluey. Because like you just put on Bluey and like, I mean, there's 6-7 minutes each.
You're blowing my stat out of the water here.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to go lower?
It's 29%.
Let me go lower. Let me go.
85% of the but that was your guess? What do you think's on HBO Max? What is 85% of HBO Max?
It's all House of the Dragon.
Yeah. 29% blew my socks off. And you went 85% of the people that are watching Disney Plus are watching Bluey.
Here's why I thought this.
Yeah.
You think about like YouTube Kids. And there are videos on YouTube Kids that literally you're just opening one of those Kinder Joy eggs and 16 million views because kids will just like hone in on that stuff.
Right.
That was my thought process.
Right. No, it's only 29%. And I mean, for me personally, that blew my mind that a singular kids program, it's not like the plethora of other child programs that they have. Bluey is that popular. And I don't think that it can be just from kids viewing it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It has a huge following regardless of age.
I mean, I do not have kids, and yet I have also seen episodes of Bluey, like on my own, watching an episode of Bluey.
Just out of curiosity.
And also, like, we watched some friends' kids at one point, and, we sat down and watched like 5 episodes of Bluey because, it's easy to do that.
It really is.
So I'm not surprised by that. I will say, like, yes, I
was
have
to be extremely underwhelmed by it.
No, I'm not. I mean, you asked me to give you a stat. I don't know, man. I am surprised that it is that low just because of I know how kids, I've seen how kids watch TV. Like you go out and you're at a restaurant with friends and you look over and there's a table with like young kids and like those kids will like hone in on that stuff and just like cycle through it.
Sure.
So like I guess like when I think about that, I'm a little surprised it's on that lower end. I mean, I was taking a shot, on the high end very clearly.
Yeah.
But
I mean that's 15% that you left over for everything else.
Well, now that you say it that way. Listen, I took stats in college and
Marvel covered 5%.
I didn't do well.
Pixar covered 3%. Yeah, I need a drink after that. That was tough. That was tough.
Yeah, after my debacle of statistics, absolutely, I could use a drink.
You shoot high, man.
Well,
you're a very positive natured person.
That may or may not be true.
Think for the best.
I feel like you set me up. You were like, "Can you imagine?" And I was just assuming a high number.
Well, I mean, if I said, like, what percentage of streaming on Netflix do you think Stranger Things is?
Sure.
Like, that's a very popular show.
Sure.
I would think it's less than 10%
of
right. Everything on Netflix. Like, it has so much stuff.
Okay. Yes. My
85%.
Yes. I need a drink. What do you
There
have?
it is.
Okay.
You're in summer mode, man. You've turned it off.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What's today? Who knows?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Anyway, what you got?
I got a cocktail.
Oh.
I think it's for me,
yeah,
it's my quintessential summer beach cocktail.
Ooh.
And it's a classic. It's a classic that we haven't done.
Sex on the beach?
No.
Oh.
Bro. No, it's a Mai Tai.
Ooh, that's what I was gonna honestly guess, but I was like, that's not as funny.
It's Mai Tai. Yes, it's a fuzzy navel. Let's go make one. I've got one right here. Just start unbuttoning your shirt.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
You're not gonna make a cocktail? Nope. We're just gonna look at it.
You can try it if you want. At my fuzzy navel.
Nah, let's go make a Mai Tai.
Okay, right now?
Yeah.
Cool. Cocktail in hand.
Yeah. Mai Tai in hand. Yeah, not your tie. Mai Tai.
Well, this one's mine.
Yeah, that's your tie.
My Mai Tai.
My Mai Tai.
Why is mine so much more full? Did you already take a sip?
Yeah.
Okay. You said the quintessential summer cocktail too?
Yeah.
I think it's like the quintessential tiki drink.
Yeah, for sure it's that. And what is the what is a tiki drink?
Yeah.
Is it just a Polynesian paradise lost kind of a?
Yeah, I think it's got to have a some sort of tropical fruit nature.
Sure.
That doesn't mean that it actually has fruit juice because like there are plenty of tiki drinks are just booze.
Right.
But I think it has that, and I think it's also like presentation of like this kind of kitschy, style.
Right.
And I think that's what makes a tiki drink. But you could, I guess,
it's not actually Polynesia, but it just pretends
it's just
to be.
like, yeah, exactly. it's very clear. Like I think most tiki drinks were made in like California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Now, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take a sip because you need to. It's right at the rim.
It's right at the rim, and like all of that top is like what is it? An aged Jamaican rum. I think
dark.
Yeah.
Dark aged Jamaican rum. Yeah.
Mm. Ooh, yeah. Hold on. Give me another.
give me 1 second. Need to ruminate. Ruminate and marinate.
All right. I took the dark rum almost off.
A lot of that floater's gone.
Yeah. Woo!
Mine's all gone.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. So we've got a Mai Tai here.
Mai Tai.
What are the specs?
Specs are it's 1.5 ounces of dark Jamaican rum.
Okay.
Or I guess it actually said gold Jamaican rum.
Yeah.
I used Worthy Park, which is not like hugely dark. Not like it's like bourbon dark.
Yeah. Chunky bits in that, or that bottle just.
No, there's some chunky bits floating.
Okay.
That was my base.
Yeah.
Was the Worthy Park. Then it's 1/2 ounce of white Jamaican rum.
Ooh.
Overproof rum.
Yeah.
The heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I used Ray and Nephew.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard. If you ask for an overproof rum, like that's the one you're gonna get most likely.
I got both those bottles in Jamaica.
Oh, okay, cool.
When I was there recently.
Yeah.
And then it's a 1/4 ounce of orgeat syrup.
Yeah. Which is an almond syrup.
Yeah, it's just almond flavored syrup.
Yep.
And then I used 3 ounces of I mixed up my own little like fruit punch.
Oh.
It was primarily mango, guava, and pineapple.
Ooh.
So a little
MPG.
I was gonna say, is it MGP?
MG. Oh, but there it is. That makes more sense.
I think it was MGP.
Yeah, a little MGP action. Okay.
But no whiskey involved.
Oh, that's okay.
And then a 1/2 ounce of Cointreau.
Yep. And
then shake it with ice, pour it up, dunked some lime in there.
I see that.
And garnished it with the pineapple and the half of I think it's called a lime island on top.
A lime
island.
And then you floated that dark rum on top.
And then you put and then I used for the dark rum I used Caruba Jamaican rum.
Did you get that
in
Jamaica too?
Dark. No, actually I already had that.
Oh, yeah, no, that stuff is like dark.
Yeah, it's like coffee dark almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
I got through my floater.
Yeah, you got through the floater.
Well, what I appreciate about that floater, it gives you that like, here you go. I mean, obviously you can sip through it, but I kind of like that like little bit of like amuse-bouche on top.
Little jump start.
Yeah, like hey buddy.
Yeah.
You're getting into
Get your engines running.
On the nose though, it's super tropical and floral.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially I got that limond.
I mean, well, and rum specifically. Rum just screams, tropical.
It really does.
Caribbean and summer.
I know that there are people that drink rum. There are sipping rums, and I've had a few, but there's something about the magic of this, fermented cane sugar juice that just like, man, screams, like you said, cocktail, screams summer, screams like whoo.
Agreed. Like I'm not opposed to the concept of sipping a rum.
Right.
I've had some that, they lend themselves to that. But I think the rum is just such a magical elixir that adds to a cocktail.
Yeah.
Honestly, more so in a way than perhaps whiskey and bourbon do.
Well, and I think like because rum, there's so much variation within rums. I mean, you have obviously a light rum with the overproof that is high proof, but it's also it's not been aged in a barrel. You've got a couple different variations of aging in barrels, and obviously like anything that's aged in a barrel is going to develop in flavor in different ways. But because this is cane sugar, basically juice to begin with, there's something that like I feel like it picks up as rum. Like I don't know, I feel like rums are more susceptible to all these like super minute little changes.
Yeah, and like when I was in Jamaica, I did some tasting because they're very willing to go ahead and pour that stuff. I think you can just walk around the port and just get all you want.
Yeah,
you just walk around because every single shop.
Yeah, you want some rum? Yeah,
they're all selling it, and they're all just pouring samples of it. So you can just, I'll be right back. I'll probably buy from you, but I'm gonna go try this other place.
Yeah, that guy's outside too. I'm gonna go grab some.
So yeah, they're all like, you could have a great time. The Worthy Park specifically, though, when I tried that one, I felt like it had a little bit of that, like the depth aspect to it that we talk about so much with whiskey, more so than some of the other ones that I tried that day. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Really liked that rum specifically, and I think it works really well in cocktails.
Well, and I think a good rum is going to have a little bit of funk on it too, and like it has that like little bit of like sugary like ooh.
I've heard that's like specific with Jamaican rum.
Sure, exactly.
Like I think Barbados rum tends to be a little bit sweeter and more rounded.
Sure.
But it's Jamaican rum specifically it has that funk aspect to it.
I like the funk.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm for the funk.
I think especially in a Mai Tai where, the rum is supposed to commingle with the fruit juice.
Right.
Because, fruit juice, especially what you already have here, is really bright and obviously tropical and produces that like sitting on a beach kind of mentality.
Right.
Then you have the little bit of the funk of the Jamaican rum and it cuts through that, and it is supposed to, and I think that this is what you have here absolutely does that. It's supposed to accentuate each other and complement one another.
Right.
And I think that especially within a Mai Tai and a well-crafted Mai Tai, exactly that.
Yeah. I think a well-crafted Mai Tai comes together, and it's not separate things.
Right.
You can still taste everything. You can still focus and find each individual thing, but they all kind of are holding hands.
Yeah, exactly.
In a big
exactly
circle of life kind of a thing.
We talked about tiki drinks earlier. I think the hallmark of a tiki drink as well, when it's using juices, is that it's using fresh or as close to fresh as possible.
Right.
Because that is what really changes the drink.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That does make a difference. That's not what we did here. But it does.
No, but
I totally agree.
You had...
I got fresh lime.
Right.
I threw a chunk of pineapple on there.
You didn't have like canned, you didn't have canned guava juice or whatever. Like it was
in a carton.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is like you didn't go out and juice some guava. That's not what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is like I think that does make the difference.
Yeah.
For sure. If you have it available fresh every time, do that.
Yeah.
If you got the time.
Yeah.
But,
Well, also like I think that's where the tiki bar or the bar in general excels is that
they can do that.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to go out and juice 50 guava just so you can have a drink.
Well, or half of a guava,
right,
to make one drink.
Exactly.
But when you're doing a whole system, yeah,
exactly. Man, this is fantastic.
Again, this is my beach drink
for sure.
Whenever I'm at a beach and if there's a bar close by and they're doing mixed drinks, or if there's servers walking up and down the beach, the Mai Tai is my way to go. That is my beach drink. Here's
my problem. I got two problems. First is these go down super quick.
Yeah.
And
they're tasty.
Second is I've had a lot of Mai Tais in my day.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of shitty Mai Tais in my day.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because of what we just talked about, where someone's just like throwing, chuck syrups together, and it's like, no, I don't want a sugar bomb.
Yeah.
Because a rum is already sugar, and you're adding fruit juice, which is sugar.
Right.
I don't want all this artificial crap in there.
Agreed. Yeah, that's where the Mai Tai can go wrong.
I think that's where any cocktail, to be fair, can go wrong.
Fair enough. Yeah. If it's too much artificial flavorings and things like
exactly.
A lot of Mai Tais, when you look up, the specs on them, a lot of them will start to throw in grenadine,
right,
stuff like that, and once you start to get into that realm. Yeah, like it's going to give you that very artificial aftertaste kind of a thing. Maybe really pretty. Might create like a really pretty drink.
Exactly.
But palate-wise, you're going to taste the difference immediately.
Well, it's like that, neon green crap that you can make a margarita with.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's not, like a pre-mix.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but then you make a real margarita and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's completely different.
But to be fair, like a real margarita is not as pretty as like the weird fake crap. Like it doesn't feel as pretty.
Oh yeah. It's got like a little off color.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at these and like they're not bright, vibrant cocktails.
No.
And it's honestly that's the way it's supposed to look.
I agree, and I think like that's where the advent of the tiki glass came into play. It's like because when you're that's exactly
idea,
what it is. Yeah. When you're mixing a bunch of this crap together, like it doesn't look pretty, it tastes pretty.
Right. You make a beige.
Exactly. Literally, that's what it is.
And it's like, oh.
I mean, like think about this drink. You got like beige beverage. You've put a dark brown beige rum on top.
Right.
And so for what you've done, the only pop of color is that Lime Island.
That Lime Island.
Right. But if you pour that into a tiki glass, because now you've got this like fun, festive glass, nobody would know.
It's like a pineapple leaf.
Exactly.
Done.
And
an umbrella.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
So now you're imitating that kind of tropical vibe.
Right.
And that's also the case.
Right.
But, this, however, is not the monstrosity that I've been served in some cases.
And to me, that's the fun thing about this summer of cocktails. Has been that aspect of like mixing the drinks and then like pouring them and seeing them in their natural state,
right?
How they're supposed to be made, and not the artificial blended versions that you get
exactly
at a lot of bars and things like that.
Yeah, I agree, because we do a little bit of research before we make the thing, whether we're making the new variation or whatever. But there's that there's that experimentation, and there's that like, okay, this is not a drink made on a cruise ship. And there's nothing wrong with those, but those are made like batch, and
they serve a purpose.
Right, exactly. And this is something, though, that's more well-crafted, and I think you can taste it in the drink.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, now that we have a great drink, Kyle, what are you going to talk about?
All right, so we did that opening with Bluey.
Where I just botched the stats.
We did it, though.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like we would be amiss to not do an episode about Bluey.
Totally.
Bluey is a bit of a phenomenon.
I've heard that 85% of
85% of Disney Plus. Yeah. I heard that recently too.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah.
Phenomenon for sure.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's blown up. I can remember hearing about it, I would say at least like well over a year ago.
Oh yeah.
And it's just become this like crazy phenomenon that like I work at a place where I see people all the time wearing Bluey stuff.
Yeah.
Bluey shirts, Bluey hats, Bluey everything. And I eventually had to try it out.
Sure.
I had to go watch a couple episodes.
Likewise.
Like, what is this about? Because
why is everybody raving over this thing?
My kids are just out of Bluey stage.
Sure.
Meaning that Bluey is a program on Disney Junior.
Right.
Which is specifically, I would say its target age range is
under 10.
Yeah. Just like you're not ready for like preteen. It's all still just in that elementary viewing range.
Yeah.
And so to see that it had such a following and like such a
reach outside of that age range too.
Yeah. It's not just the kids that are obsessed with it. Like when my kids were that age range, like yes, they were absolutely obsessed with Dora. They were obsessed with Peppa Pig, but I wasn't.
Right.
I understood that they enjoyed it and they like enjoyed watching it, but like it was not anything that I was like, yeah, let's check out that new episode of Dora the Explorer.
Right.
Because it is still so focused for them. And I think that's the big difference when you get into Bluey. If you've given it a shot or if you haven't, Bluey's different.
Dramatically so.
Bluey takes a different approach than I think literally just about every other child programming show has to this point.
Yeah. So as someone who doesn't have young kids and doesn't have kids, there's this like weird kind of, it seems to me like these show creators are my age and maybe just a little bit older, in that like a lot of the references going on right now are for adults that would have kids that are supposed to be about the age of these two dogs. So, again, young kids, maybe 5-ish.
Right.
So you're thinking, late 20s into like maybe mid 30s. So these people, these adults grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. So a lot of the like, at least the episodes that I've watched, there's like references to this kind of late 90s, early 2000s kind of vibe going on, because the two adult dogs seem
Bandit and Chili.
Chili.
Bandit and Chili. Bandit and Chili.
Mom dog, dad dog.
Yeah. Mom and dad.
Right. They are, I'm assuming, in the anthropomorphized kind of version, are of that age group as well.
Yeah. I think they're, later or earlier. I don't know how you'd say that. Millennials.
Sure. Yeah.
They're in that, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s kind of aesthetic. Yeah. But like the show is, it was one that I was slow to want to partake in.
Yeah.
Just being the fact that like my kids had kind of grown out of that age of watching those kind of kid cartoons. They had long been out of that, honestly. Like, I feel like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe, but we were to the point that we didn't watch those things. So now we've reached past that realm of Disney Junior kind of programming and have moved well past it.
Yeah.
So once all the kind of stirs of like the parents that I do know that have kids in that age range started discussing Bluey and discussing it more in a realm that was like not normal. Yeah. More of like no, like I'm looking forward to the new episodes kind of a thing, or like we all sat down together to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like,
emphasis on the we, like the adults wanted to watch it.
Yeah. Not just like I put that on. That's what my kid watches.
I'm aware it exists.
I'm aware of it, and I know what happens. But like more of like I'm engaged in it.
Like, how many episodes of Peppa Pig did you actually watch?
A lot.
No, like you. Okay,
a lot.
You watch.
I really enjoyed Peppa Pig.
Okay, I think you might be an anomaly.
No, it's not true. Peppa Pig has a theme park in Central Florida.
Yeah, I've driven by it.
Like Peppa Pig is the next step, what I would say.
Oh, okay.
It was like, I would say, man, I don't know how we get into this, but we're just going to do it right. We're just on the fly.
Uh-huh.
I think we grew up in the age of programming that was made for kids.
Sure.
And kids only.
Agreed.
Like I would argue that Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, all of those kind of shows that we were brought up on were specifically for us.
Agreed.
And only us.
Yeah.
Every aspect of it, the characters, the storyline, the plot, everything was for us. There was never the thought of like who else might be watching. It's just, no, we're making this for kids.
Right.
And then I think there was like, over the years, this evolution of programming and things like that. I don't have any reference to that genre of television until my kids are born. So at that point in time, it was the Dora age, the Dora the Explorer. That was the big thing.
The push to, it's not just programming, it's educational. Not in a different way than Mr. Rogers was. Because like Blue's Clues and I think like Dora were the first real shows that like did the pause thing of like the what should we do?
Yeah, wait for a response. I mean, I feel like there was some of that in Sesame Street.
Yeah,
in those kinds of things, but yeah, like where it was far more intentional. Maybe it was before that, and it's just I don't have a reference for it.
Sure,
like maybe that was starting to be introduced, but it was very obvious once my kids started watching Dora that it was like, ugh, this is kind of like annoying,
right?
To an aspect. And like sometimes my kids would play along and cooperate with what they were saying or would respond. And then other times they wouldn't. And it was just kind of like me too. Just like, come on, let's wrap it up.
It's the map.
Got it. Yeah, we're going to the cocoa tree. Got it. Let's go. But then Peppa Pig came along.
Yeah.
Peppa Pig, my kids immediately loved it, and there's something about the animation style, just the simplicity of it.
The Britishness of it.
Well, the Britishness of it for sure. Absolutely. And I think also, too, the storylines, the narrative within each episode started to draw in myself and my wife. Like the plot started to suggest more themes for you to get hooked on and be like, oh, that's interesting that they're going there. Or the jokes aspect of it, the comedy involved in it was a little bit deeper and might be over the heads of kids, but like it's there for the adults.
Yeah.
You know, Bluey, however, I feel like is a completely different thing. I don't think it's actually made for kids. I think it's honestly made for parents. And it's there, and the kids enjoy it. They like it. But I think the show, if you watch it, one, it flips back and forth from perspectives of like, here's Bluey's perspective right now, but now we're going to jump over and here's Mom's perspective on this thing.
So we watched 2 episodes before we started recording.
Right, yeah. I had 2 specifically that I wanted to watch with you that like kind of, to me, exemplify the 2 types of stories that you get in a Bluey episode.
And when I take a step, so I watch those, and I've watched other episodes too. I can't name the episodes, but I've watched other episodes too. And they run the gambit, the 2 that we watched, run the gambit from like, these are just kind of fun, imaginative, whatever, then to like really deep social, emotional perspectives.
Yeah.
Like to the fact of, or like to the point of like philosophy. And some of like, I know that there are some Bluey episodes that have not been aired. Like you can find them on YouTube, but like have not been streamed on Disney Plus,
right? Because
they're dealing with some things that like even Disney
doesn't own it. Yeah,
no, but they're distributing it. But
right.
Even Disney was like, But I know like some of them deal with like death and like some like deep things that I don't think are adult perspectives, but I think that adults don't know how to deal with those with kids. And that's what Bluey does. What you're saying is that it's made for the adults. And I think that what Bluey is doing very well, and those episodes that are not just, fun little throwaway, is it's actually teaching the adults how to deal, or it's teaching the adults how to teach and engage with the kids.
Right. Yeah. It's giving examples of how to... Here's a way to address that topic.
Right.
Here's a way to. I watched an episode earlier with my daughter and my mom. It's an episode about trash cans, and that's the goofy premise,
right?
And that's where kids are involved. Like, oh yeah, no, it's hilarious. They're like doing stuff with trash cans, but the episode actually like dives into phases of the moon,
right?
And one of the younger dogs, it's Bluey's sibling Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo's kind of getting not bullied, but there's a mean kid that keeps calling her a bobo head or something like that.
Not a bobo head.
And throughout this 6-minute episode, they go through the entire phases of the moon. And that's how you are following the passage of time. And each different phase of the moon, the dad Bandit keeps asking Bingo, how was your school today? And she goes through the same process of like, this kid was mean and called me a name, and it shows him how you just kind of like address that.
Yeah, how do I teach my daughter to deal with someone who's being mean to me?
Right. And it's like, yeah, like you might be angry at first, but it's like, man, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how to deal with that. And then by the end of the episode, Bingo and that kid that's been calling her the name the whole episode, they're buddies now.
Yeah.
Because somebody else was mean to that kid, and Bingo saw that was, hurting that kid's feelings. And so she was there to play with that kid and make him feel better. And it's just like, gosh dang. Like, the show does it so well.
Well, like the one that
and
we
it is
just
a bit
watched.
of an ideal.
Yeah, like the one that we just watched. I think it's called Flat Pack. And like, it's...
Flat Pack. Let's deep dive into Flat Pack right
I don't know
quick.
About deep dive. But like, it's showing Bluey and Bingo playing. And while the parents are building,
they went to IKEA, bought some stuff, and they're putting it together. Yeah.
And I love like the little petty frustrations of like, no, you've got to have the
shiny side. No, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
And then later on, we needed that side up. You got it because we've all been there. We've all done that.
Exactly.
We've all done that.
But you're watching, so there's like almost two separate narratives. Obviously, these narratives converge, but as the adult watching it,
there's 3 separate narratives in that one.
Yeah?
Yeah. So there's the parents putting their thing together.
Sure.
And there's their conversation. There is Bluey and Bingo are going through this individual relationship of mother and child.
Right. Oh,
and then they develop through that. But then there's also, through their play, there's the evolution of the human species.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to bring up. Like, so they're talking about like Bluey and Bingo begin by being fish, and then they
in their imaginative play,
right? And then they go to like lizards, and they go to dinosaurs, and then they go basically like
birds, and then they get to
dogs.
Monkeys, and then they're cave dogs,
right? Yeah. So then like you have that kind of evolution and perspective, and then like as they're playing, you see the parents are like, oh, we created those, like, oh, that's something a parent would say
is for
the adult.
Parents,
exactly.
It's for the adults to sit there and be like, oh man.
And
if you're sitting there watching that with your kids, and your kids are just like,
absolutely,
and you're like, oh yeah, no.
Okay, no kid is going to see that evolution perspective.
No chance.
I mean, they're just going to see like the dogs are playing, and it's cute and it's fun. It's imaginative,
each time they pick a different animal.
And then it's like what you just said, that idea of the parents are going to go, whoa, my kids they're mimicking me and they're mirroring me, and like I've made them, and like all of the confluence of all of this, freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, and it's dealing with some heavy, very heavy stuff in a different, again, social emotional way than like teaching people how to deal with death is. Right. Because, I'm not saying that that's easy to deal with by any means, but it's almost simpler to explain this thing and or person is no longer here, let's work through it, than this idea of like, progeny and how people grow and how species maybe even on that level grow. Like, that is some deep level shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not a children's show, like you just said, but it's also a children's show.
Yeah. It's wrapped in this veneer of it being a kid's show, which it absolutely is. But the messages, the themes, the narratives in it are very complex.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're for kids.
I can't wait, honestly, to see like how the kids that this is targeting, I'm using air quotes here, how they're going to look back on Bluey in 20 years. Like we look back on the shows of the 90s and go like, okay. Like they were sort of formative, but not really. Like, how will those kids look like? Because they have the perspective of seeing it as a kid.
Yeah.
How will they view it?
I think it'll be way more, if you can think of a movie or anything that you've watched where you used to watch it a lot as a kid, but then you rewatched it as an adult, and it's like, wow.
The adding
the meaning of it is nothing like. I remember watching City Slickers. I feel like I mentioned that on an episode recently, and like that speaks to me in a whole different way than it did when I was watching it as a kid. I recently just watched Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
With my girls. And like I remember as a kid watching that, and like its setting is in Alabama.
Yeah.
So that was something that like, just registered in my mind, and
all these characters that live down the street.
Ish. Not honestly, like kind of.
Yeah.
But just the context made so much sense to me, because like, like I know a whistle stop that's not a city anymore, but we drive through that place to get to somewhere else. So like I see this kind of rundown city all the time, kind of a thing. But oh my gosh, like the context of it is so different now, and I'm picking up themes that like would have never made sense for me as a kid in the 90s, but now it's like that is so blatantly obvious as an adult.
And I think that's to me why I'm so interested in that, is like, okay, so now you've created something that is really for the adult, and these kids are watching it. They are in some way soaking up like a sponge, because kids are sponges, man.
For sure.
They soak up all this information. How will they then look back at it? Obviously, they're going to see that in 20 years and go, oh my, whoa. whoa, but that's going to be different than like us watching, I don't know, Fried Green Tomatoes, or even something stupid like Ren and Stimpy, and going like, y'all let us watch that?
No, see, that's what I'm saying is like, I think that stuff for us was made for us.
Yeah, right.
So there's no new revelation to make because we were there at the time. It was made for us. So there's if anything, it might be like, oh yeah, there's a dirty joke.
Okay,
in that.
Well, sure, yeah.
But I think this is different because it's not. I would
I
argue that I don't think these are made for the kids.
Agreed.
So when they get there,
that's what I'm saying.
There will be a bigger revelation.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're gonna have a different experience than we're having right now.
Yeah,
they're gonna have that experience.
Like, I think it will be like Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, I see. Okay,
now,
I'm with you now. Yeah,
because the way I watched it when I was little,
different. Yeah,
is completely different than the way I'm watching it now.
Yeah, so because that was not made specifically Fried Green.
It wasn't made for me.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. So I agree completely.
Like Sesame Street is the same.
Right.
Mr. Rogers
the same
is the same. If I rewatched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
I'm
not getting anything new out of that.
Right.
Because it was made for a 9-year-old kid in the 90s.
Right.
It didn't change. They will have that benefit of like, if it's still a thing or like whatever, to rewatch it, it's going to be like, wow.
What a jump on, again, I keep going back to that social emotional learning perspective. What a jump those kids have now, even though they don't know that that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like they're just learning how, relationships work and learning how siblings work and learning how the world works.
Right.
And like one of my favorite episodes that I've seen is what's the dad's name? Bandit. So they're at a birthday party.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen this one. And Bandit's like, all right, we're going to pass this present around. It's called Pass the Parcel because it's Australian.
Right.
And they're passing this present around. It's like sort of a version of musical chairs. And like the same kids like somehow keep getting the parcel and they open it up and like, oh, here's a present. And it's like teaching kids how to deal with like, but I wanted the present. Yeah, but you don't always get the present.
Right.
And like it's just so cool to see that mirrored like in a way that, sometimes you don't always get the thing. And that's okay because the joy of it is playing with everybody else, and it's not actually that thing. It doesn't have to
be about you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like a kid's going to be like, oh yeah, man, hell yeah, Bluey.
Yeah.
Like not a 5-year-old's going to say hell yeah, Bluey, but hell yeah, Bluey. Like I want the parcel. But then I think that you begin to realize, and maybe the kid begins to realize as well, it's like, it's not about the parcel. It's about the game.
Right.
And like you're teaching.
It's about the enjoyment. Yeah.
Exactly. You're teaching young kids that.
Right.
And you're also teaching the adults how to deal with the young kids who are doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. And
so
that's what I mean. Like
it's good.
It's for everybody.
Yeah.
It's incredible, really.
It really truly is.
Like it wasn't,
it's funny.
It's so funny.
It's well done.
Yeah.
Man.
You get so attached to the characters.
Can I say one thing that I don't like about the show? There's only one.
Okay.
And I don't want to.
I'm willing to accept it.
I don't want to end on a bummer.
I'm a full Bluey.
Oh yeah, no, apologist.
Lover now.
Sure.
Yeah, apologist. Yeah, absolutely, I am.
Me too.
I'm on it.
There's one thing that I'm super.
Hit me with it.
Okay. Anyone who's listening, if you've been around a blue heeler, an Australian cattle dog,
right?
I want everyone to understand these are not the dogs you want. They are not the show, and that's my issue. Is that I think people are going to watch
pushing the popularity of a blue heeler.
They're going to watch this and they're going to go,
that's
blue heeler, like
one.
we're getting one.
We're getting one.
And my in-laws have had several blue heelers,
right.
And I have a very good relationship with their blue heeler now, and I'm going to tell you, you do not want this dog unless you are working around cattle or you have a lot of land and you are willing to devote hours to running this dog, just like running it out of energy. Because I'm going to tell you, you don't want this dog. They make very good working dogs. They are not Bluey dogs.
Dogs are weird. It is strange how they can have such specific qualities in one sense, and then not in another.
Yeah.
But generally speaking,
Yeah, and exactly that. Like, obviously, you can't say, and I recognize I can't say all blue heelers are this way because they're not. But like as a general rule of thumb, the breed is very much, unless you know what you're getting into, do not go buy one of these dogs.
Yeah.
So that's just a kind of a disclaimer, and that's my one like. But obviously, it's based in Australia. This is the Australian cattle dog,
right?
And like this is very Australia in terms of like this is the dog of Australia.
I've started saying mate a lot.
I wonder why you were telling me that or calling me that.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, let me grab you a drink, mate. Yeah. Just comes out all the time now.
Croggy. Croggy.
Put a little something on the Barbie.
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't look like Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry, buddy.
Who does?
Chris Hemsworth.
Liam,
yeah.
Liam,
maybe. I don't even think so. No. On that note. You got anything else?
No. Love it. Love Bluey. Like
I
literally like, I can't believe like it's as good as it is because it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but it is. But it is.
It is top notch.
It really is. I encourage if you have not watched Bluey,
give it a shot.
Suspend the disbelief of this is a kid's show.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Watch about 5 or 6 episodes. They're quick. They're 7 minutes ish each.
Yeah.
Easy to consume. You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
I guarantee
you're gonna find something that like, wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to know, what do you think about Bluey?
Yeah. What's your favorite episode? Ooh. Who's your favorite character?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And why is it Bandit?
I also want to know
because he's a dad and you're a dad. It makes sense. And he's got 2 little girls. Ah, dang, it's made for me. Say, man, it's all a
simulation.
Yeah.
And we also want to know, what do you think about that classic summertime cocktail, the
Mai Tai?
Yeah,
man, like it just puts you in a summer tropical mood
for sure.
So
what is your favorite variation of a Mai Tai?
What does it have to have in it that most don't?
And who makes the best Mai Tai?
Yeah.
I'm going to say you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You ever made one?
No.
All right.
So it's you.
Yeah, it's me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can get in touch with us through email. That's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's one word.
Only one?
Just one word. DREP and stone.
Oh.
You smush it all together.
Got it.
You type that into the old search bar. That's going to pretty much take you wherever you want.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Threads.
Even Threads.
Yeah.
YouTube, maybe?
Sure, probably there.
If you try it.
Yeah.
You might find something. Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah. Exactly. Come join us, and you can see some cool videos and little things that we do, maybe some travel stuff. Why not?
Yeah, little tasting samplers.
Sure.
Little pairing video here and there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And we'd also love it if you support the podcast. You can do so in a myriad ways. First is to rate Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one.
Stars, thumbs up. Don't do the down ones.
Yeah, don't do the down thumbs.
Thumbs up. Likes.
Yeah, sure.
Shares.
Yeah.
Comments.
Yeah. If you've got negative comments, you can either keep those to yourself or just email those to us directly, but don't tell everybody else.
Yeah, because if you can't say something nice,
don't say nothing
at all.
Correct. You can also support the podcast by finding us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/drepandstone. A few dollars here and there goes a real long way to help the podcast recording machine keep up, because it's working overtime right now,
which helps everybody.
Sure.
In the world.
Exactly. And the hamsters in the AC system they're just they're running.
Guys would love a break.
They would. Yeah, so that just helps them out too.
Sure.
Yeah. You can support the podcast by getting yourself a couple of bottles on Flaviar. That's flaviar.com. Use the promo code DSP10. And if you want to get some really great beer, not that this helps us out, but go to our friends at rationale.com, and you got some really great NA beer, and you can use the promo code welcome25. Tell them that we sent you there. It just, it looks good on us, and you're going to get some awesome NA beer.
Yeah, I got to do it myself.
Yeah, me too. I'm running low.
Yeah.
And finally, Kyle.
Yeah.
You can support Drep and Stone by telling someone about the podcast.
You really can. Yeah. You're helping somebody move.
Sure.
And you go
in the summer. Who chooses to move in the summer?
Your best friends.
Always.
So you go in there to start helping stuff out, and their mom's sitting over there watching Bluey.
Yeah.
What? Holy cow! Do you know what?
What?
There's a podcast that I listen to. Good guys, I know them.
Yeah.
They just did an episode on Bluey.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're into Bluey,
I am.
You should totally listen to that episode.
Okay. How do I find that?
It's one word, DREP, and so it's all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But go on there, listen to that episode about Bluey. They're drinking Mai Tais, having a good time.
I love a good Mai Tai.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's totally something right up your alley.
On that note, hey buddy.
Hey mate.
May your glass overflow
and your ass never show. Cheers.
Cheers.
Nick.
Got me.